Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side, my greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God, cannot long retain it. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it, the tree is the real thing. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. When I do good I feel good, when I do bad I feel bad, and that's my religion. This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. Have his peculiar ambition, whether it be true or not, I can say, for one, that I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men, by rendering myself worthy of their esteem. How far I shall succeed in gratifying this ambition is yet to be developed. Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. I remember my mother's prayers and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. Every man is said to have his peculiar ambition. Whether it be true or not, I can say, for one, that I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men, by rendering myself worthy of their esteem. How far I shall succeed in gratifying this ambition is yet to be developed. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time, or die by suicide. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. Let's have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. If we could first know where we are, and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do, and how to do it. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. Any people anywhere, being inclined and having the power, have the right to rise up, and shake off the existing government, and form a new one that suits them better. This is a most valuable, a most sacred right, a right, which we hope and believe, is to liberate the world. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. A man watches his pear tree day after day, impatient for the ripening of the fruit. Let him attempt to force the process, and he may spoil both fruit and tree. But let him patiently wait, and the ripe pear at length falls into his lap. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, man was made for immortality. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side. The highest art is always the most religious, and the greatest artist is always a devout person. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or to destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it, and if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. I never had a policy, I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. These capitalists generally act harmoniously and in concert to fleece the people, and now that they have got into a quarrel with themselves, we are called upon to appropriate the people's money to settle the quarrel. When I am getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I am going to say and 2/3 about him and what he is going to say. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. I don't know who my grandfather was, I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. If ever I feel the soul within me elevate and expand to those dimensions not wholly unworthy of its almighty architect, it is when I contemplate the cause of my country, deserted by all the world beside, and I standing up boldly and lone and hurling defiance at her victorious oppressors. These men ask for just the same thing, fairness, and fairness only. This, so far as in my power, they, and all others, shall have.